mind to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, we are happy to have with us Mr. J. Joe Prakash, MA, ML, MPhil. He is the coordinator of National Green Corp. He has written many books and received many awards. He has more affection towards nature. He gives awareness about the nature to the young generation. He gives guidance and solution about the environment. May I kindly request Mr. J. Joe Prakash to deliver a speech about the impact on nature due to population explosion.
Sir,
hello.
your voice.
Can I talk?
Yeah.
Can I talk now? Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, all of you. Happy to be a part of the World Population Day celebrations organized by APJM Matriculation Higher Secondary School and cyanclub, a newborn baby of the same school with aspiring young students. Students are the pillars of this nation and future stars of this universe. With a noble vision, core learning with nature. They are progressing well, and this is their second program. I congratulate them in all their ventures, that this small club do wonderful things in future. Today's program is a discussion on the impact on nature by increasing population. I congratulate everybody behind this program, the correspondent, principal, members of the staff, students, and all those who graced this program with their august presence. Advocate Prince MLA, Reverend Sister Desimol Sabs, Principal, Jesfa JR, Young Scientist, Jindin Jaya, Young Scientist, Mrs. Agnes Butlin, who is comparing the program so well, and all the listeners to this program. The title of the topic is Impact on Nature Due to Population Explosion. Population growth is the increase in the number of individuals in a population. Global human population growth amounts to around 83 million annually, or 1.1% per year. The global population has grown from 1 billion in 1800 to 7,774 billion in 2020. Population growth is the increase in the number of individuals in a population. Global human population growth amounts to around 83 million annually, or 1.1% per year. The global population has grown from 1 billion in 1800 to 7.774 billion in 2020. It is expected to keep growing, and estimates have put the total population at 8.6 billion by mid-2030, 9.8 billion by mid-2050, and 11.2 billion by 2100. Many nations with rapid population growth have low standards of living, whereas many nations with low rates of population growth have high standards of living. World population has been rising continuously since the end of Black Death around the year 1350. Population began growing rapidly in the Western world during the Industrial Revolution. The most significant increase in the world's population has been since the 1950s, mainly due to the medical advancements and increases in agricultural productivity. Due to its dramatic impact on the human ability to grow food, the Haber process served as the detonator of the population explosion enabling the global population to increase from 1.6 billion to 1900 to 7.7 billion by November 2019. The population growth rate is the rate at which the number of individuals in a population increases in a given time period, expressed as a fraction of the initial population. Specifically, population growth rate refers to the change in population over a unit time period, often expressed as a percentage of the number of individuals in the population at the beginning of that period. This can be written as a formula valid for a sufficiently small time interval. A positive growth rate indicates that the population is increasing, while a negative growth rate indicates the population is decreasing. A growth ratio of 0 indicates that there were the same number of individuals at the beginning and the end of the period. A growth rate may be 0 even when there are significant changes in the birth rates, death rates, immigration rates, and age distribution between the two times. A related measure is the net reproduction rate. In the absence of migration, a net reproduction rate of more than 1 indicates that the population of females is increasing, while a net reproduction loss less than 1 indicates that the population of females is decreasing. Most populations do not grow exponentially, rather they follow a logistic model. Once the population has reached its carrying capacity, it will stabilize and the exponential curve will level off towards the carrying capacity, which is usually when a population has depleted most its natural resources. In 2017, the estimated annual growth rate was 1.1%. The CIA World Factbook gives the world annual birth rate, mortality rate, and growth rate as 1.86%, 0.78%, and 1.08% respectively. The last 100 years have been a massive fourfold increase in the population due to medical advances, lower mortality rates, and an increase in agricultural productivity made possible by the Green Revolution. The annual increase in the number of living humans peaked at 88.0 million in 1989, then slowly declined to 73.9 million in 2003, after which it rose again to 75.2 million in 2006. In 2017, the human population increased by 83 million. Generally, developed nations have seen a decline in their growth rates in recent decades, though annual growth rates remain above 2% in poverty-stricken countries of the Middle East and sub-Saharan Africa, and also in South Asia, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. In some countries, the population is declining, especially in Eastern Europe, mainly due to the low fertility rates, high death rates, and emigration. In Southern Africa, growth is slowing due to the high number of age-related deaths. Some Western Europe countries might also experience population decline. Japan's population began decreasing in 2005. The United Nations Population Division projects world population to reach 11.2 billion by the end of 21st century. But Sanjeev Sanayal has argued that global fertility will fall below the replacement rate in 2020s, and that world population will peak below 9 billion by 2050, followed by a long decline. A 2014 study in Science concludes that the global population will reach 11 billion by 2100, with a 70% chance of continued growth in the 22nd century. According to the UN's 2017 revision to its population projections, world population is projected to reach 11.2 billion by 2100 compared to 7.6 billion in 2017. In 2011, Indian economist Sanjeev Sanayal disputed the UN figures and argued that birth rates will fall below replacement rates in the 2020s. According to his projections, population growth will be only sustained till the 2040s by rising longevity, but will peak below 9 billion by 2050. Conversely, a 2014 paper by demographers from several universities and United Nations Population Division projected that the world's population would reach about 10.9 billion in 2100 and continue growing thereafter. One of its authors, Adrian Raftery, the University of Washington professor of statistics and sociology, says the consensus over the past 20 years shows that the world population, which is currently around 7 billion, would go up to 9 billion and level off or probably decline. We found there is a 70% probability the world population will not stabilize this century. Population which had sort of fallen off the world's agenda remains a very important issue. The German Foundation for the World Population reported in December 2019 that the global human population grows by 2.6 people every second and could reach 8 billion by 2023. What are the consequences of the over-exploitation of natural resources? Natural resources are those that the planet offers without the need for human intervention. They are essential for our survival, but if they are consumed at a faster rate than their natural regeneration, as is currently the case, they can be exhausted. Then we review the consequences and possible solution to this problem. What are the natural resources? There are two types of natural resources, renewable and non-renewable. The former are inexhaustible, like solar radiation, or their renewal is relatively rapid, as is the case with biomass. Non-renewable resources are those that exist in nature in a limited way because their regeneration involves the passage of many years, such as minerals and fossil fuels, oil, natural gas, and coal. Human beings are depleting the planet's natural resources, and standards of living will begin to decline by 2030 unless immediate action is taken. The Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF, warns that the current overexploitation of natural resources is generating an enormous deficit, as 20% more than can be regenerated is consumed each year, and this percentage is growing steadily. Thus, if you continue at this rate, you need 2.5 planets to supply ourselves in 2050, according to the WWF itself. In turn, this organization shows that the world's population of fish, birds, mammals, amphibians, and the reptiles declined by 58% between 1970 and 2012 due to human activities, and predicts that by 2020, this percentage will soar to 67%. The consequences of the overexploitation of natural resources are the uncontrolled consumption of natural resources has significant effects. As far as environment is concerned, the disappearance of habitats is essential for flora and fauna, and therefore the extinction of species. There are some 30 million different animal and plant species in the world, and of these, the International Union for Conservation of Nature says that currently more than 31,000 species are threatened with extinction. Economic. 33% of the world's soils are moderately to high degraded, according to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. If the erosion of fertile soil continues at the same rate, agriculture commodity prices will inevitably soar. For health, If we do not take care of the forests, there will be fewer carbon dioxide sinks and therefore more air pollution. According to the World Health Organization, 9 out of 10 people worldwide breathe air with high levels of pollutants, and 7 million people die each year because of air pollution. Solution to the overexploitation of natural resources are the future, as stated in the United Nations Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development, poses a double challenge to human beings, covering conserving the many forms and functions of nature and creating an equitable home for people on a finite planet. If we want to reverse this situation, we need, among other things, to conserve natural capital, restore degraded ecosystems and their services, halt the loss of priority habitats, significantly expand the global network of protected areas, improve production systems, significantly reduce the objects, materials, and resources used in the development of human life and the volume of waste in production system, manage resources in a sustainable manner, promote the production of renewable energy. So these are all the things that we could do. Consume more responsibly, promote lifestyles that leave a smaller environmental footprint, change current energy consumption patterns, promote healthy and sustainable consumption patterns, reorient financial flows, place a value on nature and natural resources, take responsibility for environmental and social causes, support and reward companies that promote conservation, sustainable resource management, and innovation in their activities. The impact on nature by increasing population. Our growing population, we humans are remarkable creatures. From our humble beginnings in small pockets of Africa, we have evolved over millennia to colonize almost every corner of our planet. We are clever, resilient, and adaptable, perhaps a little too adaptable. In 2015, the world population is more than 7.3 billion people. That's more than 7,300 million bodies that need to be fed, clothed, kept warm, and ideally nurtured and educated. More than 7.3 billion individuals who, while busy consuming resources, are also producing the vast quantities of waste, and our numbers continue to grow. The United Nations estimates that the world population will reach 9.2 billion by 2050. For most of our existence, the human population has grown very slowly, kept in check by disease, climate fluctuations, and other social factors. It took until 1804 for us to reach 1 billion people. Since then, continuing improvements in nutrition, medicine, and technology have seen our population increase rapidly. The impact of so many humans on the environment takes two major forms. One is consumption of resources such as land, food, water, air, fossil fuels, and others. Number two, waste products as a result of consumption such as air and water pollutants, toxic materials, and greenhouse gases. What are the consequences of the overexploitation of natural resources? Natural resources are those that the planet offers without the need for human intervention. They are essential for our survival, but if they are consumed at a faster rate than their natural regeneration, as is currently the case, they can be exhausted. Then we review the consequences and possible solutions to these problems. What are natural resources? There are two types of natural resources, renewable and non-renewable. The former are inexhaustible, like solar radiation, or their renewal is relatively rapid, as is the case with biomass. Now, renewable resources are those that exist in nature in a limited way because of their regeneration involves the passage of many years, such as minerals and fossil fuels, oil, natural gas, and coal. Human beings are depleting the planet's natural resources, and standards of living will begin to decline by 2030 unless immediate action is taken. The Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF, warns that the current overexploitation of natural resources generating an enormous deficit, as 20% more than can be regenerated and is consumed each year, and this percentage is growing steadily. Thus, if we continue at this rate, we will need 2.5 planets to supply ourselves in 2050. According to the WWF itself, in turn, this organization shows the world's population of fish, birds, mammals, amphibians, and reptiles declined by 58% between 1970 and 2012 due to human activities, and predicts that by 2020, this percentage will soar to 67%. The consequences of the overexploitation of natural resources are already explained, and the population distribution, the ways in which populations are spread across the earth, has an effect on the environment. Developing countries tend to have higher birth rate due to poverty and lower access to family planning and education, while developed countries have lower birth rates. In 2015, 80% of the world's population lives in less developed nations. These fast-growing populations can add pressure to local environments. Globally, in almost every country, humans are also becoming more banished. In 1960, less than 1/3 of the world's population lived in cities. By 2014, that figure was 54%, with the projected rise to 60%, 66% by 2050. While many enthusiasts for centralization and urbanization argue, this allows for resources to be used more efficiently. In developing countries, this mass movement of people heading towards the cities in search of employment and opportunity often outstrips the pace of development, leading to slums, poor environmental regulation, and higher levels of centralized pollution. Even in developed nations, more people are moving to the cities than ever before. The pressure placed on growing cities and their resources such as water, energy, and food due to continuing growth includes pollution from additional costs, heaters, and other modern luxuries, which can cause a range of localized environmental problems. Humans have always moved around the world. However, government policies, conflict, or environmental crises can enhance these migrations, often causing short or long-term environmental damage. For example, since 2011, conditions in the Middle East have seen population transfer, result in several million refugees fleeing countries, including Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The sudden development of often huge refugee camps can affect the water supplies, cause land damage, or pollute environments. What is the solution? How do we solve the delicate problem of population growth and environment limitation? Joel Cohen, a mathematician and author, characterized potential solutions in the following way. Number one is a bigger pie, technical innovation. This theory looks to innovation and technology as Earth's savior, not only to extend the planet's human carrying capacity, but also improve the quality of life for each individual. Advances in food production, technologies such as agriculture, water purification, and genetic engineering may help to feed the masses while moving away from fossil fuels to renewable power sources such as wind and solar will go some way to reducing climate change. Economic decoupling refers to the ability of an economy to grow without corresponding increases in environmental pressure. In 2014, the United Nations Environment Program released a report titled Decoupling 2, which explores the possibilities and opportunities of technology and innovation to accelerate decoupling, and an analysis of how far technical innovation can go. Funding and research should be a high priority in these areas, but we must accept that technology can only do so much and is only part of the solution. Wind turbines, investing in clean energy is one way to reduce our environmental strain on the planet. Number 2 is fewer folks, education and policy change. This theory is based on demographic transition, effectively finding ways to slow or stop population growth, resulting in fewer people fighting for resources or slices of pie. Birth rates naturally decline when populations are given across to sexual and reproductive health care. Education for boys and girls beyond the primary level is encouraged and made available, and women are empowered to participate in social and political life. Continuing to support programs and policies in these areas should we see a corresponding drop in birth rates. Similarly, as the incomes of the individuals in developing countries increase, there is a corresponding decrease in birth rates. This is another incentive for richer countries to help their poorer neighbors reach their development potential. Providing health, educational or financial incentive has also proven to be effective in combating some population issues. For example, paying money to people with 2 or fewer children or allowing free education for families with a single child has been trialed with some success. However, there are debates about the incentive programs, such as paying women in India to undergo sterilization. Opponents questions whether accepting these incentives is a choice, or whether the recipient has been coerced into community pressure or financial desperation. Children in a school environment, education is the foundation for our future, and not only because it helps to reduce unsustainable birth rates, fewer folks can also cover another complicated area, the option of seriously controlling population growth by force. China has done so in the past and attracted both high praise and severe humanitarian criticism. This is a morally, economically, and politically charged topic to which there is no easy answer. Number 3 is better manners. Less is more. The better manners approach seeks to educate people about their actions and the consequences of those actions, leading to a change in behavior. This relates not only to individuals but also governments. Individuals across the world, but particularly in developed countries, need to reassess their consumption patterns. Numerous studies have shown that more stuff does not make people happier anyway. We need to step back and re-examine what is important and actively find ways to reduce the amount of resources we consume. Taking shorter showers, saying no to single-use plastics, buying less, recycling our waste, and reviewing our mode and frequency of travel may seem trivial, but if millions around the world begin to do it as well, the difference will begin to add up. A volunteer working with the Tan Xuan organic project in Vietnam, being a good global citizen can include anything from reducing your plastic consumption to volunteering and helping governments too in environmental policy to protect and enhance natural areas. Reduce carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gas emissions, invest in renewable energy sources, and focus on conservation as priorities. Developing countries should be supported by their more developed neighbors to reach their development goals in sustainable, practical ways. In reality, there is no single easy solution. All 3 options must be part of a sustainable future. Where to farm here? Population is an issue that cannot be ignored. While we can all do our bit to reduce our global footprint, the combined impact of billions of other footprints will continue to add up. There are many who believe that if we do not find ways of limiting the numbers of people on Earth ourselves, then Earth itself will eventually find ways of doing it for us. Interestingly, despite population increase being such a serious issue, the United Nations has held only 3 world conferences on population and development. That is in 1945, 1974, and 1994. However, governments around the world are beginning to recognize the seriousness and importance of the situation and are taking steps to reduce the environmental impacts of increasing populations and consumption, such as through population reduction targets for air, soil, and water pollutants. The United Nations Climate Change Conference in Paris, scheduled for December 2015, is one example. However, any international policies need to be backed up by workable solution at the individual, local, and regional level. Conclusion: with more than 7.3 billion people on the planet, it is easy to assume someone else will tackle and solve the issue of population and environment. Yet, it is an issue that affects us all, and as such, we are all responsible for working towards a sustainable future in which everyone is able to enjoy a good quality of life without destroying the very things we rely on to survive. It is possible, but it will take the combined and coordinated efforts of individuals, communities, and governments to get there. Thank you very much for your patient hearing, and I thank the authorities of APGM school and the office bearers of cyanclub for giving me an opportunity to share some of my views with you during this evening. Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable facts, which you share and create awareness among us related to environment. So, friends, here we have a session that is question and answering session. So, friends, anybody willing to ask question, please raise your hands. I request all the participants to post your feedback in chat box. Once again, I request all the participants, please post your feedback in chat box.
Is there any questions?
Sir, I have a common question. So there are a lot of part in our life to a lot of the people and lot of person from various age have a part to conserve nature in our life. So please explain about that, like ages, first for the childhood and adulthood and senior citizen. Like this, please explain.
Only after childhood we learn things. So you forget about the childhood. When you come to school, you learn so many things. And when you grow by stage and get into college or get into some profession, you learn so many things. After that, you learn many experiences in life. So during all these stages, you can contribute something for the conservation of nature. See, we are using electricity in our homes. So we'll put the fan or light or switch on the computer and just go away. That should not be. That awareness should be there from the school or college or whatever it may be. Then using water. If you're not closing the tap properly, water will fall down. That one drop will come to 10,000 liters in a year. So like this, so many simple things we can practice in life. So it all depends upon how we are taught, and at home sometimes, in school, or in the community. So we must abide by certain rules and regulations in life. That is, simple things. If you see a small piece of paper or a waste in your surrounding, you just pick that paper and put it in the waste box. Don't allow anybody to do such things. So like this, simple things can be done, and it all depends upon our mind set and our love for nature. And if you are not doing all these things, definitely you are doing harm to nature, and you are destroying the nature, and you are not allowing the future generation to enjoy the nature.
Friends, is there anyone willing to ask question? Please raise your hand. I request all the participants to post your feedback in chat box. And now we have a very eminent personality, Dr. John Ravi Kumar.
A very great opportunity to listen from me. Just I had seen that through my Facebook. So I thought since Dr. Sri Joe Prakash sir is coming, and moreover, Jaspa is also there, and I thought I can attend what it's going on. Just I wanted to see what is going on. As you know, actually, we are consuming everything from nature, whether it is water or plants or fish or animals. So everything is meant for man, no doubt. We are supposed to live with this. But only thing is, as Gandhi said, the earth has everything for man's need, not for his greed. So because of greed, we are not simply exploiting, we are over exploiting our resources. So one side, our lifestyle is improving. So we are consuming more. Already in developing and underdeveloping nations, the population goes on increasing. And as already so many times Mr. Joe Prakash has mentioned, developing and underdeveloping countries are one side increasing their population, and the developed nations, though the population is not increasing, their consumption is 4 or 5 times more than the developing nations. The number of people living in the developed nations are not even 10%, whereas they consume almost more than 70-76% of the natural resources are consumed by developed nations. So one side, population grows and the people are suffering, and they have no other go but they are exploiting the nature. And other side, the developed nations, on the pretext of improvement and comfort, they are other side destroying. Ultimately, we pollute the earth, we pollute the air, we remove the maximum resources beyond the cutting point. So beyond it is going to repair. So if you gradually we are using, it will come back. But our consumption rate has given a stage that it is not going to get repaired. ஒரு அருமையான ஒரு இது சொல்லுவாங்க, what man do for the earth அப்படின்னு சொல்லும்போது, he cut his ribs by breaking the rocks. He put deep holes and suck his blood by drilling oils. He removes his hairs by cutting down the trees. இப்படி பண்ணும்போது நேச்சுரலா we are hurting the earth. Not அப்புறம் அல்டிமேட்டா பாத்தீங்கன்னா the earth never need man. டெஃபினட்டா மனுஷனுக்கு இந்த பூமி தான் வேணும். பூமிக்கு மனுஷ கட்டாயம் அவசியம் இல்லை. பூமியில ஆல்ரெடி as of now we are 7.8 பில்லியன் ஆர் 780 கோடி பக்கத்துல இருக்கிறோம். அந்த 780 கோடிக்கு தேவையான அளவு உணவு மற்ற செல்வங்களை கொடுக்கிறது எடுத்துட்டு இருக்குது. பட் what happens is man, because of greed, is exploiting. So the earth's warning, if you want to live, you live, otherwise forget. When the earth react back, when the earth react back in the form of flood, in the form of earthquake and other things, there will be a total misdeeds and total loss. So at that time, maybe already the earth has tasted more than 3 major devastations, and so many of the plants and big animals like dinosaurs and all we lost. So one more is coming, means the man will be wiped out from the earth. So earth is warning you, if you want to live, you live, otherwise when I bite back, you won't be there. So naturally again the civilization will arise. At that time man won't be there, only the bacteria and viruses will be there to live. அதனால தயவு செய்து நம்முடைய ஒரே ஒரு இது என்னன்னா, we try to live. We need the earth, not the earth need us. அதுக்காக வேண்டியாவது we try to live in a better way, in a affordable way, or everybody should coexist. And the word is important. We should coexist with the plants, we should coexist with animals, we should coexist with the fish, whatever it, even with virus, even with bacteria. Now the COVID pandemic is there, everyone is thinking that one. So it's only, yes, it's a man-made, no doubt, because we are using so many pesticides, so many chemicals. Naturally what happens, these viruses and these bacteria are mutagenic to other forms. So now the stage has come, man has no control, he is not able to control. Originally he could have stopped it, now it's a bit difficult. When we find out some solution to contain this COVID, something else will come. That is the problem, because it's only because of man's greed and his actions only. அதனால நம்ம செய்ய வேண்டியது என்னன்னா, as Joe Prakash sir is with the aim is planting 1 lakh trees within our district. Clear? அதே மாதிரி if you want to live in a better life, we see that plant as many trees as possible within the short period of time we are living in this earth, and see that we have to live in a contented way, not in a lavish way. 100 சாரி வச்சிருக்கிறது, 200 ஷர்ட் வச்சிருக்கிறது எல்லாம் வந்து மேபி ஃபேன்சியா தெரியலாம். இப்போ இன்னும் அழகா ஒரு இது போப் பிரான்சிஸ் ஒரு இது சொன்னாரு, இஃப் we throw a meal away, that means we are stealing someone's meals from his plate, dining table or plate. நம்ம ஒரு சாப்பாடை வேஸ்ட் பண்றோம்னா, எங்கேயோ ஒரு பையன் சாப்பிடுறதுக்கு இல்லாம இருந்த சாப்பாட்டு டேபிள்ல இருந்த சாப்பாடை நம்ம திருடி அவன் பட்டினியில இருந்து சாகுறான. இதை மனசுல வச்சுட்டு see that don't exploit more, don't consume more, live a contented way, and see that how far we can nurture our nature. Nature is our mother is our earth. So we have to live jointly in together with nature. See that how we can help nature by living in a simple, harmonious life with other plants and animals there. With this, I wish the Cyan Club and the APJM's school to have better days, to have some more clubs meetings like this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your deep knowledge about nature and environment. Your words were full of enthusiasm and valuable knowledge. Gratitude is the fairest blossom, which springs from the soul. Every celebration is an experience, the external fades away, and the internal lingers and echoes in the most depth of our hearts. We are reminded that events like this are milestones on the journey of life and the reminders of God's fidelity all through. As we come to the close of our program, I invite Master Andrew Chalice, the founder and organizer of Cyan Club, to propose the vote of thanks.
Gratitude is the memory of the heart. It gives me immense pleasure and honor to accord a words of gratitude in front of you all in this auspicious occasion. First and foremost, let me thank beloved God Almighty who showers all His blessing upon us throughout this program. Next, I would like to thank our chief guest, Advocate J.G. Prince, Member of Legislative Assembly, Kolachal Constituency. For his presence, sir, really we are blessed that you are with us today. For your wonderful talk that inspire us in a peaceful way. Thank you, sir. I would like to take an opportunity to thank our guest speaker, Dr. J. Joe Prakash, coordinator of National Green Crop, who spent his valuable time with us throughout this function. Thank you, sir, for accepting our proposal and be with us throughout this function. Now, let me show my immense gratitude to our beloved Reverend Sister Desimol, who is our supporting pillar of our APGM family. Thank you, sister. Your presence really makes this event even more colorful. Now, let me extend my heartfelt gratitude to Sri John Ravi Kumar, employee in IPRC ISRO, for his motivational and valuable works. Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to thank Ms. Jespa, former young scientist, for her wonderful works. Thank you, ma'am. Now, my gratitude goes to Instructor Jenlin Jaya, who is with us today and share their valuable points. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank Mrs. Benedict Gerani for your words of welcoming. Thank you, ma'am. Now, I would like to thank Mrs. Agnes Butlin for your wonderful comparing throughout the entire program. Thank you, ma'am. Next, my gratitude goes to organizing committee of this event for your support and wonderful cooperation. Thank you everyone. Next, it's a time to thank all of our students, teachers, officials, doctor, and scientists who brought color in this meeting with their participation. Without you all, this meeting is futile. Thank you all. Once again, I thank you one and all for present here on behalf of our Science Club and APGM family. Thank you everyone.
Thank you for your thankfulness, Master Andrew Chalice. I think the gatherings are deeply filled with your pleasing words. Thank you so much.
Until bye-bye from Science Club. The YouTube channel of our Science Club link is posted in the chat box. So please subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you everyone.